We interview everyday people like yourself that uplift and empower, shifting the narrative of news from a traditional negative experience to more impactful.
I want to ask you is, what was the initial event that led you to start the channel, Dad, How Do I?
Yeah, it's something I thought of a few years ago, and I was, I've shared this a lot. I thought I was just going to help a few people, 30 or 40 people, and try to download some nuggets that I'd learned the hard way. And so I kept thinking to do it, and then it's like, I got busy and never doing it. And then with the pandemic, it kind of forced my hand. My daughter was on me, Dad, you need to do it. You need to do it. I got a lot of friends that would benefit from it. And so, yeah, I had I started my channel April 1st of 2020. And then April 2nd, I did How to Tie a Tie. And then it went viral in May. So just like a month and a half later, Reddit got a hold of it. I think that was the big thing. It went on TikTok and Reddit, and yeah, it has blown up. And yeah, I'm grateful for the platform I've been given. It's pretty remarkable.
That's a pretty quick turnaround, especially like on the internet, and to continue like having success with videos. So
Yeah.
what was the idea? Like, where did the initial idea come from?
Well, so I talk to my adult kids basically on a daily basis, talking about different things. And, my daughter and she started a business a few years ago. And so we were literally every morning she would call me, okay, I'm going to go do this today, I'm going to do that today. And so we were talking about all kinds of different things and stuff that I'd learned over the years with business. And then we also said, we started talking, what do people do that don't have this resource? And I have the background where my dad left, and I did have to kind of fight for myself to try to figure out things. I went to live with my brother. I learned a lot of things from him, but still he was my brother and not a parental figure. And so there's times where I was embarrassed to ask him about certain things, and so I had to learn a lot of things the hard way.
And with your dad leaving, that kind of leads me into my next question, because on your website, I saw that you said, I have 2 adult kids that I still talk to. So what does that mean to you to make sure that you have that relationship with your kids?
I think it's huge. Actually, that's a very good question, because one of the regrets that I always feel like I have, not from my end, but from my dad's end. My dad took forever to finally own up to what he did. And excuse me, when I forgave him, long before he asked for forgiveness. But, things were never, it was always kind of a superficial relationship where we never really, we'd get together and you couldn't necessarily tell. We'd be laughing and be, but we were never close. And I never wanted that for my kids. And so sometimes you have to own up to, maybe not handling things correctly. And I think because of that, I'm really close to both of my kids.
So how does it feel to you to know that you're giving this advice to not only your own children, but people who grew up like you and not having somebody to turn to for these things?
Yeah, I'm grateful for the opportunity. Honestly, I'm ancient, so YouTube wasn't around when I was younger. So I'm trying to provide really a resource for the younger me that could have benefited from all the things that I've done wrong and learned how to, I should have done that differently, things around the house, or even things in relationships and all that stuff. I'm trying to download it for, to help as many people as I possibly can. And if I help just one person, that's worth it.
So what has been the response, like from the community or from audience, fans, all of that?
Yeah, it's been a little surreal because I've been on a little bit of a a ride for the last couple of years. All the opportunities that have come my way, and my subscribers, I call them my kids, and I've got kids that are older than me. I've had 80-year-old grandmas saying, "I'm so grateful for you," because maybe they missed their dad or they never had a dad. So yeah, it's pretty remarkable, the opportunity that I've had to be able to to work, and people have been, I'm trying to show kindness to people, and I've also got that in return. So I'm grateful for that. You still have people that want to come on and stir things up, and I, try to shut them down.
So how has it like impacted you and changed your life and your outlook on things to have this platform?
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm an introvert. It's funny because we had we've been out of the office for a long time, and I'm in sales, ironically enough, as an introvert. And so I've always struggled, even in our sales meetings. We'll have 30 people in a meeting, and I just kind of sit there and don't call on me, don't call on me. I'm not the one that say, hey, look how much I know. I just kind of sit there, and I've always admired people. I guess you admire what you don't have, I guess. And so I've seen other people, but it's funny because you hear people speak up, and it's like, but I see that you're not really successful, but boy, you sure don't have any problem talking. But it's funny because anyway, so we had a meeting last week, and there was probably 15 to 20 of us in a room, and they were asking me about, everything that's happened with me and stuff. And I said, it's so strange because I'm, kind of an introvert. And one extrovert said, you're kind of an introvert. Yeah. So anyway, it's been, it's been a growth stage for me because I've had to kind of come out of my shell a little bit. And I'm grateful that I've been able to, though, because the opportunities that are out there have been really fun, scary, at times, some of the stuff that I've had to do. I interviewed Kevin Hart. I've, been on lots of national TV shows, and those are a little bit, I have to kind of get myself in a zone so that I, don't freak out.
Just out of my own curiosity, how do your coworkers and things react to that? Like super quiet by day and like this social media icon by night, almost like a superhero.
Oh, that's kind of you. I don't know. It's pretty weird because I haven't changed. We're still driving the same cars. We're living in the same house. I don't, we haven't really done anything to change. And so and maybe that's probably for my own mental health. I haven't really done anything to walk around like I'm anybody. I just still try to be the same guy. And I did have one experience that was kind of funny. I went into the office about 6 months after we went viral, and I was just there with my mask, and there was this young lady that I work with that's in her mid-20s, and she was, oh, I was like, well, it's just me, I don't know. It's funny. It's funny and a little bit sad that we put people on a pedestal when really I'm just, hopefully I could have a conversation with anybody.
And it's even inspiring that you have this humbleness because a lot of people go viral and become platform or have a platform and they kind of lose their touch, but it's like you're staying even more in tune with the message that you're trying to share. So the next thing I want to ask you is, where do you get the ideas for your content?
I get a lot of suggestions. I got people coming with all kinds of different things, but I still, when I first started this, there's lots of things that I felt like I knew how to do that I learned that, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. I'm not the best at anything, but, and I actually started a podcast recently too, with my nephew, because there's certain things you can answer on a podcast that you can't really do on my channel, and people can, so like I want to do how to fish, there's so many things and that's a whole series that I'd love to, again, be able to download. So the ideas are coming kind of from everywhere, stuff that I have a list still that I'm working my way through. And then I get sponsors that want, they have suggestions, and if it fits, then I'll do it. But I've had so many sponsorships that don't fit. I just say, I don't know what I would possibly do to do a video about what you're asking me to do a video about. And so I let it pass by.
So what's something that you're hoping to do going forward, or where are you hoping that your channel and all that will go going forward?
Yeah, I think long term, I hope it's a resource for anybody and everybody to be able to, we've talked about empowering and encouraging and edifying. So, we're trying to give people, hey, if you break this down to baby steps, you can do it. Let's do it. And then also try to encourage. Again, you're trying to, encourage people, give them the courage that they need to feel like they can do something. And then also want to help try to, encourage the next generation to be good people too. So it isn't, I told my daughter when we were first talking about this channel, I said, there's so much more to being a dad or a mom than just, hey, she just takes care of that for me. She fixes it. Well, I want to be able to share my heart a little bit, and so thankfully I've been able to do that as well.
And from this interview or even your work, what is something that you want audiences to take away from this story?
I want them to feel loved. That's a big thing. I want you to come to my channel, and it's more than just learning how to tie a tie, but I want you to know that, somebody cares for you, because we live in, especially during the pandemic and stuff, we were all isolated, and people, it was unfortunate. A lot of people were depressed and dealing with, anyway, some tough thoughts. I'll just leave it there. And so I was just trying to help people, just being a calming voice. It's funny though, because early on, people sent me videos of me with my eyes bugging out, oh, we should do this to that's not me. It might get views, but I want to just be a calm resource for people. And if it's a little bit boring, even the podcast, it's just me and my nephew talking and discussing questions that we have and that sort of thing. But a lot of it is just hanging out together. And I think the quality time comes from quantity time of just hanging out.
And how do you, because you were saying you want to put your heart into it, how do you go about doing that, especially in an impersonal setting, like somebody's watching you through a screen?
Yeah, it's a little hard, of course, because it is through a screen, but I have kind of put myself out there and made myself a little vulnerable. When I did my video on being proud of you, when I did that one, I was a little emotional because I was emotional myself with everything that was going on. And so I think you could tell that I was close to tears because I was just kind of sharing my heart. I've tried, I've always kind of wore my heart on my sleeve as a person, because I want people to know that I care about them. I want people to know that I love them, because you don't know how long you have, we're not promised tomorrow. And so I do try to make that connection, like I said, because I think maybe it stems a lot from the frustration of never really having that with my dad. And he kind of chose that superficial relationship. I don't want that. I want real relationships with people. And even with my job in sales, I got to where I'd go out and see my customers, but they'd become my friends. And so it was like I was visiting my friends instead of, oh, there's the salesperson coming in trying to sell us stuff. I wanted to know about their lives. I think people are interesting.
And to just kind of wrap up, how do you feel like you've grown since the beginning of this, like personally, professionally, all the above?
Yeah, I think the big thing is coming out of my shell. I would say that's the biggest thing, being able to do things that I probably wanted to do, but I was scared to do because of critics. And I shared that in one of my videos about the Teddy Roosevelt quote of a critic. It's so easy to be a critic. Anybody can be a critic. It takes no formal education to be a critic, so you can tear people apart. And unfortunately, I let that stop me from doing things. But now, I'm trying to encourage people to get out there and try it. Because speaking from experience, the ride that I've been on has been remarkable. And it was kind of me, stepping out of my comfort zone and trying this and see what happens. And, it's been a huge growth experience for me. I've written a book, I've had all these different things that I never would have had if I would have just said, I'm good. I'll just, kind of coast into retirement and, ride off into the sunset from my job. But yeah, now I've been given this platform with so many amazing opportunities.
Thank you for listening. Continue to listen and support our journalism at WeINSPIREmovement.org. Hit us up on all our social media for daily inspiration. Nothing but the good news.